It's a clash of the Titans in Class 2-1A for the 2000 State Football Championship. Good afternoon, I'm Tom Nelson with Stan Unruh from Lewis Field Stadium and Fort Hays State University. And a tremendous game for the state championship today. Number 1 Claflin versus number 2 St. Mary's Colgan.
Well, it's a game you're not going to want to miss. Two unbeaten teams, and Claflin going for their 52nd straight win. The three-time defending state champions are going to be tough.
I tell you what, 51 wins in a row. Nobody who was playing for Claflin has ever lost a high school football game. These seniors, they pull off the win today. They go undefeated through 4 years of football.
And they're led by senior running back colgan. When he gets the ball, he gets the job done. They do a tremendous job of giving him the ball. Jordan Hickel, also the sophomore running back, an outstanding job backing up Homolka. And it's going to be a tough job for the Wildcats on defense as well as they try to stop the passing attack of Colgan.
I tell you what is so great about Claflin is they don't fool you. I mean, you can scout this team. They do the same thing every day. They run, run, run. They may throw one pass a game, but you just can't stop them.
Line them up and let them go after them, because that's exactly how they play, and that's what we're looking forward to in this exciting 2A state title game today. We'll see if Claflin can four-peat.
Well, St. Mary's Colgan, they were here a year ago. They lost to Claflin here in the championship game, and they've got a very good team this year as they ran roughshod over the competition.
It's a rematch. Stay tuned. It's coming right up. We are with Coach Greg Webb of the Claflin Wildcats. Four-peat. We've heard of three-peat, and doing it twice in a row. You guys are going for number 4 straight state titles today.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that we made it back again. It's, you know, every year is special because every team is different, and you get such a personal identity and relationship with every team. It's almost like an individual that you have a relationship with. And this bunch had a lot to prove. There was so many good kids off of last year's team that we lost, and people had serious question marks about what we were going to do this year. And I just can't say enough about the seniors. They really stepped up and took an incredible challenge and have run with it and just done a fabulous job. We've played some awful good teams here lately, and we're going to play another one today. But you know, whatever happens today, we've done what we set out to do, and that's get back here again.
We know that Cullen Homolka, very important to your offense, but your defense is going to have to play some good football today.
Oh, no doubt. Their offense is multi-dimensional. They've got great skilled kids. And we'll have to tackle really well. If like I told them, there's no way we're probably going to stop them from not catching a ball. But when they do catch it, we've got to keep them out of the end zone and tackle somebody on the perimeter, and tackle the Joe Taylor kid awful well, because he's a tremendous back. We had success with him last year on defense. I think he ran for 14 yards or something like that. But this is a different team, and hopefully our defense will play well enough to give our offense enough chances to score some points.
That's Coach Greg Webb of the Claflin Wildcats, the three-time defending state champs. We're with Coach Chuck Smith of the St. Mary's Colgan Panthers. Coach Smith, you were here last year. Is this a rematch? The way you folks are looking at it, how are you looking at today's ball game?
Well, our kids, they would have been disappointed if we didn't make it back to this game. You know, we had a great year last year, and these kids worked hard over the summer, and our goal was to get back to this state championship game. And to be truthful, we were happy to play Claflin. You know, it's pretty impressive. They've won 52 in a row, and our kids are excited about the challenge of playing a team that really is the top 2A team in the state for the last several years, maybe for the decade. So, you know, we played them. This is our third time within the last 20 years. We're excited about the ball game, and we feel like it'll be a good ball game.
And certainly you folks know how to put the points on the board. You're undefeated this season, but you can score through the air.
Well, we have a good running game. We have a good passing game, and we realize Claflin will take some of those things away from us. And but our kids are very flexible, and we feel like we can do a lot of things offensively. And whatever they take away, we feel like we can do something differently to score. We do score a lot of points, and I hope we can today.
And we couldn't have a more beautiful day considering what we thought we might have.
This is great. This is what we need. And we're kind of a finesse team, but I also feel like we're a physical football team also, and the weather is really great. And we needed this kind of weather, so we're real thankful for this.
Coach Chuck Smith of the Colgan Panthers. Let's go back upstairs.
Welcome back to Lewis Field Stadium. The 2-1A state championship game just minutes away as the Claflin Wildcats, the team of the 90s in Class 2-1A and maybe just in the entire state of Kansas, tries to become the team of the new millennium as they will look for a third state championship in a row. Actually, a fourth state championship in a row, 97, 98, 99, and they'll look for it here in 2000. But standing in the way, Pittsburgh, Colgan, St. Mary's, and I tell you what, they were here last year. They took it on the chin in a shootout, and they know what they're in for today, don't they?
Well, I think they do, and as you look at those starting lineups for Pittsburgh Colgan, got Healing at running back, Lance Fairchild and Shane Bicknell in the defensive backfield along with Wachter, Clausen, the defensive end, Smith, quarterback linebacker, Nate Bollinger, and Joe Taylor.
And then you see the Schiffelbeins, all three of them starting. Eric Schiffelbein, Jason Rooms, Pat Schiffelbein, Justin Beasley, TJ Markley, Scott Schiffelbein, and Matt Weber. And Chuck Smith has got to be proud of this team because they have played outstanding all year long, and they have bombed people. I mean, you look at some of the numbers. Big wins, 57-0 over West Elk and 53-0 over Oswego. And it didn't stop in the playoffs. Take a look at Claflin's starting lineup, and the name that jumps out at you on page one is Colin Homolka. He's had a huge playoff run here, and as a senior, he would like to take it out with a win because, heck, he hasn't lost in his high school career. Take a look at the second page of starters. Keith Staudinger is Kyle Career, Gavin Klug, PJ Stiles, Jeremy Fluhoft, and Damian Tudor. Greg Webb has had an unbelievable run at Claflin High School.
You've heard of winning it back-to-back and a three-peat. They're going for a four-peat today and the all-time record for consecutive wins in the state of Kansas.
Well, you look at the state of Kansas record books. It was Alton back in the 60s from 1962 to 1968. Alton was an 8-man team. They won 51 games in a row. Claflin already halts. What's that?
Up there in Osborne County for your.
Is there even there's not a high school in Alton anymore?
Not anymore, no.
And but the Claflin Wildcats already hold the 11-man record. That record 49 in a row by Independence from 1957 to 63. So they're just trying to win the winning all-time winning record, winning streak for all the classes now. And you take a look, we talked about them being the team of the 90s. They have the third longest winning streak in state history. They won 36 games in a row between 91 and 93. Let's take it down to the field and listen to the coin flip.
Okay, fellas, congratulations on making it to the state championship game, okay? You guys are the team captains. You know you're in charge of your teams. No problems. Okay, you take care of everything for us. You guys are the visitors. So who's going to call this? Okay, 18 is going to call it. 46 will repeat what he says. If I drop it, we'll do it again. You ready?
Tails. Tails.
Tails, and it is a head. It is a head. See it? Your choice, son. They want the ball. Okay, which end do you want to defend?
Claflin
Okay,
wins the toss.
Let's spin around that direction then, okay? Spin around that way.
You hear it's all business down there. The officials are taking care of business.
Claflin's
they know
won the
this is a
toss.
huge game.
It's just a second here. We got to get this on.
It's already on now.
Claflin's won the toss. They will receive at the south. Colgan will kick this direction. Good luck, man. Good luck.
Well, the officiating crew today, the referee is Mark Meyer, the linesman John Mees, the judge Chris Rorabaugh, and umpire Stephen Holmes. And we'll be hearing from Mark Meyer all day long. Claflin versus Pittsburgh St. Mary's Colgan for the 2-1A state championship. And what a tremendous game. This is a ball game that we've been looking forward to. Two evenly matched teams with different offensive schemes. Let's see what happens.
A rematch of last year's state title game, and both of them coming in undefeated. We have been talking for so long about Claflin's incredible winning streak. The last game they lost was on Halloween of 1996 when they lost to the Stockton Tigers, and they played Stockton this year on Halloween in Claflin as well, and Tigers almost upset them, but the Tigers couldn't get the job done. The Wildcats are looking for their 4th straight state title today here at Lewis Field Stadium.
Now, Claflin is not exactly as dominating as they have been in the past. They only had three starters returning from last year's team, so you got to give them credit because they're back here again. But they've been tested. La Crosse in the districts 22-6. They beat Ellis 30-8. Then in the playoffs, you're right, Stockton, they beat them 28-21. They beat Salina Sacred Heart 18-13, and then St. Francis 26-13. Now that St. Francis game was just played on Monday. It was supposed to be played last weekend, but the snowstorm pushed it back to Monday. So they're not only are they played a tough game on Monday, they're coming off of a short week of preparation. And let's see if St. Mary's Colgan can take that to their advantage. As we heard in the coin toss, Claflin will get the ball to start this ball game. A breeze from the north, kind of the northwest coming into Lewis Field Stadium. And
you know, Tom, Colgan's got a real balanced attack, and we talk so much about the offense of Claflin, but I'll tell you, they're going to have to play some defense today. As we talked to Greg Webb earlier, the head coach of the Wildcats, they're going to have to stop that passing game. They're going to have to tackle the likes of Joe Taylor and others and get those fellows on the ground. Colgan, they also shut out the team that was the runner-up in the 3A title game earlier this year in week 4 of the high school football season. We're about to go underway here.
Joe Taylor's kick is high and short, taken at the 26-yard line by an up man. That is Colin Homoka. Pretty good up man to have back there. He'll take it to about the 35, and that is where the Claflin Wildcats will get it on here. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats in the 2-1A state championship football game from Lewis Field Stadium. First of all, the weather forecast, a little bit of snow today, but it has turned out just flat beautiful. Quarterback for Claflin, Ben South, has only thrown the ball 24 times, completed 13 for 244 yards. He's rushed for 331 yards on the ground. They will not throw the ball very much. And the handoff coming to the near side
Jordan
is Jordan Hickel. Well, they will just come right at you. Claflin won't do anything tricky. They lose a couple on that play. A loss of 2 will bring up 2nd down and 12, and they'll just pound it down your throat. They threw 1 pass last week in the St. Francis game. And there is Homolka, right up the gut across the 40, out to the 43-yard line. Boy, he's bruising you.
And I tell you, that's the kind of play we're going to see all day long. You saw him fake to Hickel going around the left side, give the ball right up the meat grinder, if you will, to Homolka, who has had a variety of phone calls from the likes of KU, K-State, Nebraska.
3rd down and 2 after the 10-yard gain. Here's Homolka again, and he'll fight for the 1st down. To get to the 45-yard line, and that's exactly what he's lying on. Let's see, they'll mark it. They mark it a tidge short of the 45. They're going to have to measure this. That wasn't a very good spot, or a very advantageous spot for Claflin, I might say.
Well, T.J. Markey was right in there to make the big defensive stop for the Panthers, and a generous spot in terms of the Colgan folks.
Yes, Homolka was lying across the 45-yard line. Now they have the 1st down anyway, so move the chains, and Claflin will get another set of downs. Greg Webb, his Claflin Wildcats, the average score of a Claflin game this year, 44-7, with the guys in purple on top, of course.
Yeah, we might see some history here today, Tom.
That'll be 52 wins in a row, would be unbelievable. There's the handoff to Colin Homolka, the fullback, and he will just bowl his way for 4 yards. Colin Homolka has carried the ball 196 times coming into this ball game for 965 yards, an average of 7.1 yards a carry, which when you're a fullback and you're averaging over 7 yards a carry, that tells you that the plowboys, as they call them, are opening up the holes.
Yeah, a lot of those kids are on the farm, and they grow big down there in Barton County.
2nd down and 6 to Hickel, and nothing doing coming over the back, and with the tackle is Nick Smith. We'll be calling his name on offense. He's a starting quarterback. but a loss of 1 for Hickel. And Hickel, we talk about Homolka, but Hickel's the guy who's rushed for over 1,000 yards, 1,030 to be precise, at about 6.7 yards.
And this Hickel kid can hit.
Look at the ball rolling back the other way. I think Mother Nature right now.
The wind blowing there, or
kind of is.
A little bit of a breeze. I know Greg Webb wanted some wind today in an effort to thwart the passing attack of the Panthers.
It will be 3rd down and 6. Just shy of midfield. And Homolka has it and nothing doing. And the St. Mary Colgan Panthers are up to the challenge on Claflin's first possession. And the Wildcats, well, they don't punt very much. Let's see if they do right now. I think they will. And that's one of the biggest punters you're ever going to see. Keith Staudinger, 288-pound punter.
He puts his whole foot into it, I'll tell you.
They've punted 14 times in 12 games. They get 15, and now you can tell they haven't punted very much, and the ball flying all over the place. And the first break of the game goes to Colgan.
I don't know what he was thinking on that. If the ball got away from him, if he was trying to throw the ball forward or what, but he didn't have a handle on it from the time he got the snap. And so the Colgan Panthers will take over in Wildcat territory.
Let's take a look at it again. As you'll see, he just off of his knee, and then he tried to throw it forward. I think he knew he was in trouble, and actually he might have helped him with a couple of yards there. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line for Colgan, the first break of the ball game to the Panthers.
And Homolka, Keith Staudinger right in there to make the stop. Claflin can play defense.
No gain on that play.
I tell you, there was some bone-crushing hits in that Claflin-St. Francis game earlier in that semifinal contest. We're going to see some of that today on both sides of the football. 2nd and 10 now.
And the Panthers in Claflin territory at the 45. The quarterback keeper by Nick Smith. He'll bounce it to the left side and nothing doing. They fake the hand up to the fullback. He blasted up the middle. I thought he had it for a moment, but Nick Smith kept the football.
Kyle Creer and Jordan Hickel in on the stop.
And we thought we'd see an offensive shootout, and right now we're just seeing them jockey for field position. 2nd down and 10, 3rd down and 10, excuse me, at the 35. Shotgun formation, they want to throw. They'll roll right, and the pass is complete. Down the sideline, tiptoeing, is Shane Bicknell. It is complete for a 1st down. Move the chains.
Evan Beck there to drive him out of bounds. Just got him out of bounds on the play. Evan Beck, the sophomore.
And the ball down to the 33-yard line.
I think I said Evan Beck. It's actually Aaron Beck.
There's a couple of them on the team.
Yes.
1st down and 10 from the 33-yard line. 2 wideouts to the top of the set, and he wants to throw, and he has a man wide open, caught at the 8-yard line. He can't keep his feet. Nice catch down there by Andy Wechter. And that will put the Colgan Panthers inside the 10-yard line and make it at the 5.
Gavin Klug and Jordan Hickel down there to prevent the touchdown, and that's one of the things that Greg Webb was concerned about coming into this ball game, preventing the big play. And we've seen a couple of passes there, and I tell you, with the balanced attack that Colgan has, Claflin's got their work cut out for him today.
28-yard pass completion, 1st and goal from the 5-yard line, 1 back in the backfield. And the option to the right side, quarterback keeps it. Smith rumbles down to the 2.
Jordan Hickel once again there to make the stop, along with Evan Beck.
Couple of big pass plays have victimized the Wildcats defense. And now you look at 2nd down and goal, the 2. 6:45 remaining here in the first quarter of the 2-1A state championship game. And the St. Mary Colgan Panthers from Pittsburgh are knocking on the door. Touchdown, Nick Smith.
They can run and they can pass, and they proved it that time. Claflin
They showcased both features of their game on that first drive. It started on the short field after the muffed punt at the Claflin 45-yard line, and it's capped off with a 2-yard touchdown run by quarterback Nick Smith. Now kicking the extra point is Joe Taylor. It's right through there, and with 6:36 remaining in the first quarter, the Claflin Wildcats are on the short end of a 7-0 score. Let's take a look at the touchdown again, and the parting of the sea right there, the parting of the purple sea. And Nick Smith finds gold in the end zone, and the Panthers have the early lead.
I tell you, Claflin finds themselves now in a position they're not used to.
Not at all.
Coming from behind. They like to grind it out, and with the kind of offense that they run, it's not the best at coming from behind. And so they're going to have to respond right away and get some points on the board.
Now, we talked about the shootout a year ago. That was a tremendous ball game as Colgan fell to Claflin. And the score was, I believe, 54-26. I had it written down here somewhere, and now I can't find it. Yeah, 52-34 was the final in that game. Claflin over Colgan a year ago.
That was a wild ball game, and it was in doubt until late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter. But I tell you, the Colgan fans are a little fired up.
Taylor with the kick. It is high, it is short, it is returnable. Taken at the 14-yard line. Back to the 30. Is that Evan back on the return? Yes, it is.
Stu Towner among those in to make the stop. Micah Ealing for the Panthers, and got a little conversation going on with the referee and Kyle Career down there.
Blow him off the ball.
But here come the Wildcats on their second possession with 6.5 minutes to play here in quarter number 1 of the 2A state title game from Hayes.
And the give.
Evan
to Evan Beck. Evan Beck has rushed for over 500 yards this season. They have 3 backs that have rushed for over 500 yards and a 4th who's rushed for over 300. So they spread the wealth around a little bit. A 4-yard gain for Evan Beck.
Similar to the Colgan passing attack. They spread it around a little bit through the air. Claflin on the ground. That's their strong suit by all means.
And right up the gut, not a whole lot doing. Homolka gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it.
John Sigley, sophomore guard in there, making the stop.
A lot of 3rd and more than 5s here, and that's tough if you're Claflin. They got a 3rd and 6 here. This is a big play early in this ball game. Ben South will fumble the football. It's on the turf. And Colgan says they have it. And yes, well, let's wait for the indication.
It didn't look like Jordan Hickle ever had the handle that time.
There's the signal. Football goes over to St. Mary Colgan.
Turnovers are very costly, and especially when you're losing the ball in your own territory like that.
And that is real. That's 2 turnovers for Claflin. The muff punt is basically a turnover.
And now the handoff to Jordan Hickle. He never got the handle on it. And the Wildcats need to rise to the occasion here.
Now the short field, they'll give it up, and Micah Ealing slips 1 tackle, can't slip a second. He'll gain a couple 3. Give him 3 on the play. Actually, let's give him 2 and make it.
Evan Beck, PJ Styles making the stop for the Wildcats.
Big defensive stop right here for Claflin, because if they go down 14-0, like you said, the offense is not made to come back, especially against a defense as tough as Colgan's. 4:45 remaining first quarter, 7-0 Colgan. And the option left, and room to run around the corner. as Ealing gets across the 30 down to the 25-yard line. And
Aaron Beck rode him out of bounds after he lost his shoe. He'll pick it up and carry it back to the huddle.
Aaron Beck with some good pursuit over there, as he could have been gone around the corner.
He got his shoulder into it, drove him out of bounds.
Let's go, D!
And a gain of 8 on the play. First down and 10, the ball at the 24-yard line. It's throwing time, and a man wide open at the 16-yard line. The pass complete to Bicknell.
Homolka in to help make the stop on defense that time.
Bicknell will carry it down to the 11-yard line, move the chains, first down, a gain of 11. And
well, we knew they could pass, and Claflin was admittedly concerned about that. They haven't seen a strong passing attack this season, not anything like what they're going to see today.
That's 3 for 3 through the air for Nick Smith. They'll try to bounce it outside Joe Taylor, nothing doing. He's knocked back for a loss of a couple. Nice pursuit that time, the right side of the line closing.
And Homolka in there to make the stop behind the line.
Colin Homolka, we'll just call his name all afternoon long.
You know, Nick Smith, over 60% passing completion, 60% completion of his passes this season. I'll figure out what I'm trying to say here.
How about 22 touchdown passes? That's big numbers in high school football.
Yes, it is.
He wants to throw this time. He's looking now. He'll scramble. He'll bounce it to the outside. He has running room. He'll be knocked out at about the 1-yard line. But Nick Smith, the line of scrimmage was the 13. He takes it down to the 1. A gain of 12 for Smith.
I tell you, he was bouncing off those tacklers. They were trying a little arm tackling there, and it's not going to work on a player like that. Evan Beck drove him out of bounds at the 1-yard line. And
they can actually get a first down at about the 2-inch line, it looks like. It's third down and short at the 1.
nervous time for the Wildcats.
Did he get into the end zone? No signal as of yet. It looked like Nick Smith carried it in. Looks like they'll mark him down, though.
Looks like just a couple of inches. Keith Staudinger, the 288-pound junior, was the man that stemmed the tide that time.
Now they're going to measure for the first down. Like I said, he could get a first down without getting a touchdown, but it's real tough, but I think they just managed to do it.
Claflin is going to need a turnover here.
It is first and goal, inches from pay dirt.
And I don't think anybody who drove into this parking lot for this ball game today ever imagined this scenario that we find ourselves in at this point, Tom.
Claflin, I mean, they got their back against the wall in more ways than one right now. They are digging in the gold right here, first and goal. The goal to the painted end zone, touchdown. Nick Smith takes it in for his second touchdown of the afternoon.
They're making it look easy.
There is no doubt about that. It is 13-0 now with 2:43 remaining in the first quarter. You don't think there's a team on the far sideline that has been chewing over what happened a year ago in the state championship game for the last 365 days.
Well, I tell you, the way that thing ended last year, they set a goal to be back here this November, and they're here.
And the kick is up and good, and surprised the flag didn't fly there because Joe Taylor, the kicker, got hit. But no call. It's 14-0. A 1-yard touchdown run.
And head coach Greg Webb of the Wildcats is on the field. Not unusual for him. He's out on the field huddling with his players, and he is doing some heavy-duty coaching here. His team down 14-0, and I'll bet you Greg Webb can't remember a time. I know none of these players on this team have been down 14-0 any times in their high school career.
Now you look at what the Panthers have done this season. The average score of a Panthers game, 46-5. And until last week, they had never given up a first-half touchdown all year long until Centralia got one on them last week. So
they even beat the runner-up, if we hadn't said that earlier, the runner-up in the Class 3A title game today, as the football has been blown off the tee.
Well, and that game was 34-0. So I mean, that was wasn't even a good game.
So the wind definitely has picked up down there. Temperatures are in the 30s, but the wind definitely a factor now.
And we're ready to kick it off. It's high and short and out of bounds. And that's going to be decent field position for Claflin to start this drive at the 35.
Claflin losing the ball on a couple of giveaways on their first 2 possessions. Maybe the thought of
We'll have a re-kick, 5-yard penalty.
just going to move him back and re-kick it. Maybe the thought of trying to win 4 in a row is a little too much.
Now they want a chance to return this. I think they feel like that's their best way to set up the good field position is break one long. And they'll move them back 5 yards and have them do it again. But it has been all St. Mary's Colgan right now. Pittsburgh having a tremendous day in state championship football. Actually,
Yes.
Pittsburgh, the 5A Pittsburgh high school team playing in the 5A state championship game today. Of course, we talked about Frontenac, which is right across the street from Pittsburgh, being in the 3A state championship. Watch this with the funky. They're going to try to pooch it. And a nice heads-up play by P.J. Stiles to run up and field that football
and hit the deck.
You betcha. It'll be 1st and 10 for Claflin at the 39-yard line. But P.J. Stiles ran up to catch that football.
Yeah, they were shifting everybody around on that kickoff lineup. You knew something was up.
And south under center. 3-back set. And the ball to Hickle. Hickle will spin to near the 45. Jordan Hickle, 1,000-yard rusher this year.
He's a big kid for a sophomore.
You betcha.
His dad has him run the family hay business and puts a few muscles on doing that in the summertime, I guarantee you.
A 6-yard gain brings up 2nd down and 4. 2:15 remaining in the first quarter. 14-0. St. Mary's Colgan. The give to Hickle. He gets a couple 3. He'll get within a yard or 2 of the first down.
He was struggling to hang on to the football that time.
Now you've got to remember, Claflin coming off the short week. They played the semifinal game on Monday. Lost a couple of days in preparation. Gain of 2 for Hickle. And 3rd down and 1. Homolka, 1st down across midfield, grinding it out.
I would imagine most folks in the stadium could have called that.
Grinding it out on what has become a crucial drive for the Claflin Wildcats.
Yeah, they really need to get something on the board here. Emotionally, it's going to make a big difference. And certainly, with the kind of offense they run, as we've been saying, they can't afford to fall farther behind.
1st down and 10. At midfield, just across the 50-yard line. Homolka doing a dance down there with Pat Schiffelbein, and Schiffelbein, he led.
Yes, he did. He got right across that line in a hurry down there. That's something you hadn't seen in the past with a Claflin team. Last year's team, for those of you who remember the last couple of years, they have been so big, and losing as many starters as they did, it's really had an impact. But certainly it has had an impact in the losing column.
2nd down and 10. Hickle this time will get a couple across the 50 in to Colgan territory with 38 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, and the whistles will stop play. A couple of injured players down there.
TJ Markey slow to get up on the play.
And it will be
3rd down.
3rd down and about 9 yards to go.
Okay, Colgan called timeout at 34 seconds.
And Greg Webb back out on the field talking with his charges. Well, we've got almost the whole town of Claflin here. We've got a good portion of southeast Kansas here for the ball game today. And despite winter's, it isn't even winter yet, I guess, late fall's chill.
It's
You've got a pretty good crowd.
It's very purple on the near sideline. Those people are sitting in the shade.
Yes, they are. Now, if you're here in the late summer, early fall for a Fort Hays game, you're glad to have that. But on a day like today, you'd like to have a little sunshine.
Yeah, the people across the way sitting in the, quote, visitors section, they're the ones who are sun-tanning today.
Mighty thankful for a little sunshine. And
third down and 8.5, 9 yards to go. Big play to continue this drive. Ben South will bring him up. And right up the gut to Homolka. Not a whole lot there. He gains 2, but don't be surprised if it's 3. It's 4-down territory.
Colgan, that's their second timeout.
And now Colgan will take a timeout. They'll take their second timeout.
that's interesting. I wonder what prompted that right before the end of the first quarter.
I bet if they wanted Claflin to punt into the breeze if they're going to punt. Thing is about Claflin, they don't punt very much. As we said, they've with their punt, actually their muffed punt, only the 15th time they've punted all season long, and 5 of those came in one game, came in the lacrosse game. They go for it on 4th down more often than not. Last couple of games, they're 7 of 10 on 4th down. So I would bet that this is a no-brainer for Greg Webb. They'll just go for it. They got the, they're across midfield, and what the heck? They don't punt very often. Don't be surprised if they don't punt now.
Their first attempt at punting earlier was certainly less than satisfactory. And the way they can open up the hole and run right up the gut, I would imagine Homolka is going to get the call. And I'm wrong.
And he will not get it. He actually fumbled the football. I think he was down. Yes, he was, but it does not matter. Evan Beck does not get back to the line of scrimmage. He loses a yard on the play, and that's a dent in Claflin's confidence right there. They're used to going for it on 4th down and getting it, and they did not. And with 23,
I'm as surprised as anybody.
Yeah, with 24 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, Colgan with the breeze. Don't be surprised. They put it up. They're going to line up 2 wideouts to the left side, and in the shotgun, they're going to throw it. He's going to look deep. He's got a man. Nice defensive play across the way. Did he catch that football? No, he didn't. Nice defensive play across the way by Gavin Klug. Incomplete.
Got the hands up. You can tell he's been practicing that this week. They knew it was coming.
It'll be 2nd down and 10. Still 17 seconds remaining. And a chance for Colgan to put it up again, I imagine.
When you consider Nick Smith has completed 60+% of his passes, a lot of confidence in his ability.
Play action. He's got a man. Can he get to the football? Tremendous catch. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. St. Mary's Colgan, as Nick Smith hooks up with Eric Clausen, and a tremendous catch. Clausen just ran under that football and right to the touchdown.
That was a thing of beauty. Jordan Hickle rode him out of bounds after he was in the end zone. But the Wildcats are now looking up at a monumental task, trailing at this point 20-0. We'll see what the point after attempt is like.
3 drives, 3 touchdowns, and a very, very, very good first quarter for St. Mary's Colgan. The Panthers, Chuck Smith.
I'll tell you, the Wildcat side of the field is looking for the emergency room.
And they will roll to the right. They want to fake it. He'll throw it into the end zone, and it's picked off.
Stodiger.
This can be, nope, it cannot be returned for 2 in high school football.
That would have
In college football, you can take that back for 2 points, but that is not the case in high school football. It's a dead ball, and with 8.1 seconds remaining in the first quarter, the score, the St. Mary's Colgan Panthers 20, and Claflin Wildcats nothing. Greg Webb, for the 3rd time, is going to go out to a huddle in the middle of the field and try to rally his troops, because they are on life support right now.
Keith Staudinger had that in the other end zone already. He was ready to motor down the sideline. But nice defensive play. Unfortunately, not able to take it in for points. But he was prepared.
Smith to Clausen for 54 yards.
Well, we knew they could air it out, and the Claflin defense simply has not faced this type of challenge all season.
Yeah, we thought 14-0 was a deficit. Now 20-0. A lot of football remaining, though. A lot of football left.
Long way to go, and Claflin will certainly need it. The folks on the Colgan sideline are on their feet and excited about this one.
Hickle will take the kick at the 13. And how about the pursuit? He'll get out to the 25, but the
White drove him out.
The white and blue uniforms were pursuing well on special teams.
Panthers are fired up.
And it'll be first down and 10 at the 23-yard line.
You know, you're always a little intimidated when you're facing a team going for 4 straight state titles, but they're definitely warmed up now on that Colgan sideline, and they've got the momentum in a big, big way.
This will be the final play of the first quarter. First and 10 from the 23-yard line. They'll give the ball to Hickle, and he stopped immediately. And what a quarter it was for St. Mary's Colgan, as the Panthers, in this cat fight, the Panthers over the Wildcats by a score of 20-0. 1 quarter in the books, a lot of football left to play, and we will take a break from the Class 2-1A state championship football game from Lewis Field Stadium. Well, the St. Mary's Colgan Panthers have delivered the blow in the first quarter. Now it's up to the Claflin Wildcats to get off the mat.
Yes, they were definitely dominant in that first quarter, and Claflin has their work cut out for them as we start quarter number 2 of the 2A state title.
Second down and 10, back at the 23-yard line. Pitch to the right side. A little bit of a seam. Nice gain out across the 30. Spinning to the 32-yard line.
A little something for the Claflin fans to get fired up.
It'll bring up third down and short.
Some of them are still frozen into their seats, but
now you look at Hickle, his carries, 8 carries for -2, 1, 3, 6, 2, 2, 0, and 8. So that 8-yard gain is biggest of the ball game, but that's pretty standard. I mean, to tell you, they're averaging very little per play. Third down and 2. Hickle, first down, a little bit more, out to the 37.
well, Jordan Hickle is certainly getting his number called and making the most of it here as we start the second quarter.
They'll move the chains. It's a first down. Jordan Hickle.
There's Coach Greg Webb contemplating.
Now, he's not out of this ball game, but you're right. Their offense is not conducive to big comebacks.
That's really not when you grind it out. It looks like somebody's got an equipment problem. Looks like Jordan Hickle is checking a thigh pad or something.
Jordan Hickle, 9 carries for 24 yards.
A helmet, I guess. Had a problem with his helmet. Facing these Colgan kids, you better have a secure helmet.
We talked about before the game, we were down on the field. Well, there are some big boys. There were some big boys on the Claflin offensive and defensive lines. They're going to open up some holes right now. Now flags will fly. They drew the Panthers offsides.
Dead ball foul, encroachment on the defense, 5-yard penalty, first down over.
Well, that'll bring up first down and 5. First down and 5. Really got a pretty favorable spot there. It's almost like first and 4. Yeah, they're going to move it back a yard. I thought,
you were on the ball.
That's a pretty good 5 yards. That's a 6-yard penalty. That's a 6-yard penalty. Now it's first and 5.
There we go. The officials know what they're doing down there.
Taking care of business and getting it right.
Mix up in the backfield.
But Hickle takes it, gets around the corner, taking lemons making lemonade across the 50 down to the 46-yard line.
Nice job for Jordan Hickle.
Now Hickle that time, that play was blown up in the backfield. It was a mess, and Hickle came out of there with the ball and got around the corner and gains nice yardage.
Eric Clausen pushing him out of bounds on the far side as they get into Colgan territory.
And 10:30 remaining in the first half, and we've been saying it the last couple of times, this is a crucial drive for the Claflin Wildcats. Pitch right, Hickle cuts it up. Some running room, trying to get to the 40-yard line, but a nice gain of 5 on 1st and 10.
Joe Taylor on the tackle.
Joe Taylor among those making the stop for the Panthers. We saw Hickle left, Hickle right.
Stand up, sit down,
Maybe they'll
fight.
Maybe they'll send, yeah, you could be a cheerleader. Send Homolka up the gut this time, possibly.
2nd down and a long 5. Once again, the way Claflin runs their offense, it's 4-down territory anytime they're across midfield. And they'll give the ball to Hickle.
He may be the workhorse today.
But somebody needs to step up.
Has a shoe problem that time. Try to get his shoe back on.
Hickle will gain 3. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2.
3rd down, 2.
Nice crowd across the way. I mean, Southeast Kansas is a long way away. You don't get onto an interstate until you get up to I-70. Unless you're coming in from Wichita, maybe that way, but a long way from home.
Yes, it is.
A lot of fans from the Pittsburgh area are in the house tonight.
And Hickle's still struggling with that shoe. He had a helmet problem earlier. Got to teach these kids to get dressed before the game starts here. But of course, you're getting battered and bruised like that down there. You're bound to lose some equipment there. He's got those expensive football shoes on.
The Wildcats have that K-State Power Cat on their sleeve. And Hickle will, I believe he's wrapped up short. And a nice defensive play by David Blanco.
I'm wondering if, although I haven't seen Claflin play that much this season, I haven't seen them give Hickle the ball this frequently without having Homolka run it. On 4th down, you got to think Homolka's going to get the call.
Hickle's been the man on the drive. There you go, nice call, and he'll get the 1st down.
Smith there to make the stop along with Joe Taylor.
Colin Homolka, a very important 3 yards.
Now Homolka has lost his shoe. Whoever sold this Claflin team their shoes needs to give these kids a refund.
We saw it in the first game today, too. In the 3A championship game, they were throwing some shoes.
Saw a kid run for 50, 60 yards without a shoe for a touchdown.
1st down and 10, the ball to 35-yard line. Claflin trying to get something going, down 20-0. And a fumble on the play. Colgan has it. Wow. That is 3 turnovers for the Claflin Wildcats this afternoon.
And the Claflin quarterback, Ben South, is limping off the field. He looks like he is in pain.
You take a look at it on replay, and that ball just jarred loose in there.
Don't know what happened to South, but he's down on his back on the sideline.
1st and 10 from the 37 now.
Run! Nice jump!
That's Taylor.
Nothing doing.
Ball carrier. Kyle Creer on the Claflin tackle.
Joe Taylor does not get back to the line of scrimmage. He loses 2 yards on the play. Will bring up 2nd down and 12. Joe Taylor, who's rushed for over 1,300 yards this season, a couple of carries for -4 so far. But all St. Mary's Colgan would like to do right now is take some time off that clock. A nice long time-consuming drive with 8 minutes remaining in the 2nd quarter. And they'll have a pretty happy locker room if they can.
Before the snap. It was before the snap. It was dead ball, so it's before the snap. Dead ball foul before the snap. Offense lined up off sides. 5 yards, play down over.
Now they'll play that one over, so that play never happened.
Claflin quarterback Ben South still grabbing the back of his leg, a hamstring. Looks like he's having a little trouble.
Get
Down on his back. Stretch it out, you're right. Here come the Panthers again.
2nd down and 15. Give it out to Taylor. Taylor will scamper for about 3.
Gavin Klug making the big stop for the Wildcats.
Well, you see Chuck Smith right there. Very intense on this one. He's got to like his position.
In our conversation before the game, he seemed very confident. They had every intention from the end of November last year right to this week of being here and winning this thing today.
And buying lots of tapes.
Yes.
2nd down and 10. Not a whole lot there for Micah Ealing.
Keith Stottinger and several other classmates in to ride him down there in the interior of the Wildcat line.
A loss of 1 and a 3rd down play. Claflin's defense has been up to the challenge here, but the offense is shooting themselves in the foot. They have a big 3rd down and long play right here. They can stop it and get the ball back, but they need some points before halftime. 3rd and 12. Going left, looking down, has a man, and it's almost intercepted.
Jordan Hickel just about had it.
In and out of the hands of Hickel, and it'll be 4th down.
And Jordan had right in his hands and just couldn't hang on.
After 3 possessions and 3 touchdowns, the Panthers will punt the football for the first time.
Yeah, I bet you Greg Webb is glad to see their punter finally got on the field.
And James Bowman will step back to punt the football. Over end. A fair catch is called for and taken at the 32-yard line.
Evan Beck making a fine fair catch there. That's where the Wildcats will start 1st and 10 at about the 32.5.
Well, if you're Greg Webb, you watch your offense move the football a little bit and turn over or go for it on 4th down and not make it, and now you've got to do it again starting back at the 32.
Well, Ben South, despite limping off the field after the last possession, is back in there. He trotted in there a little gingerly, but he's got it out. This is the state title game.
And they'll pitch to Hickel. Oh, big hit. Wow. Pat Schiffelbein laid a shoulder pad on Jordan Hickel, and Hickel will be helped to his feet.
In the chops.
Oh, boy.
Take that, Plowboys.
And Hickel has carried the ball 14 times already for 44 yards.
He's getting a workout today.
It's about 3 yards a carry. And we're halfway through the 2nd quarter now. And whistles will blow to shoe problem down there. I think that Schiffelbein hit Hickel so hard he came out of his own shoes. 2nd down and 9 at the 34-yard line. Hickel trying to bounce it outside, but how about the defensive play by Eric Clausen? Clausen holds on for dear life, brings him down for a loss of 2.
2-yard loss on the play. 3rd down and 11.
Somebody may have finally figured out how to stop the patented Wildcat running attack.
You know what I'm wondering, with Alton having the all-time longest winning streak and no longer having a high school, you wonder if there's some people up in Osborne County that would like to keep Alton's name in the record book who are rooting for Colgan here today.
I bet there's somebody.
Play action, he wants to throw it. It's complete. It will not be enough for the 1st down. Completed out there to Evan Beck, but they pick up about half of what is needed.
Nick Smith there to make the stop to prevent the 1st down, and it certainly looks like they're going to have to kick this one away.
And they will punt for the 2nd time tonight. And the 16th time
what happened last time.
Yeah, remember what happened last time. He couldn't hang on to the football.
No No doubt about it this time.
That's a nice punt.
Taylor calls for the fair catch at about the 28-yard line.
That was a darn nice punt. That is a big punter. I wouldn't want to hit that punter.
No.
That punter would hit back.
You would, you definitely feel it. What does he weigh?
280.
Yeah.
288. I don't want to shortchange him.
He's not missing any meals, that's for
Tell
sure.
you what, if one big meal, he'd be a 300.
Well, Thanksgiving's on the way.
That's right.
Depending on when you watch this.
For us, it is. The drive will start at the 29 with 4:38 remaining in the first half. 20-0. Right to Joe Taylor. Room to run around the corner. Spinning, staying on his feet down to the 46-yard line. And a flag is on the field at about the 32.
Mike Ailing threw a great block over there for the Panthers, but
over here.
may have been a hold involved.
I'll bring that one back.
A hold or a clipper, something along those lines.
Now the line of scrimmage, the play originated at the 29. The flag is at the 33, so they'll mark off the penalty from
Block
where
below
it
the
happened.
waist, outside the neutral zone, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
So it's a 5-yard gain on the carry by Joe Taylor. And then the penalty. And they will mark it back to the 22-yard line. Tom Nelson and Stan Unruh, glad to be with you today. The 2-1A state championship football game from Lewis Field Stadium, Hayes, America.
And pretty doggone nice weather for late November.
Third week of November, you take it and run. First down and 18 back at the 22 after the penalty. It's a play action. He wants to throw it. He has a man. And almost a nice diving catch, but a flag on the play, and that might be pass interference.
Sure could be. Ailing was over there stretching out for it, but was somebody holding him possibly?
Well, that's something, you know, as a defender and really high school football in general, you're not used to playing the pass so much, and it happens. You start grabbing.
Sure, especially when you're down 20-0.
And it is a hold.
First down over.
So now it will be a 10-yard penalty, which
We'll just
take it out to
back to the original line of scrimmage.
First down
basically.
right there.
Meanwhile, the clock is not in Claflin's favor as we approach the 4-minute mark here in the first half.
Now it's 1st and 8. Coming your way is Taylor, bounces to the 40-yard line and out of bounds, out at the 41-42.
Homoka dove and missed him. Jordan Hickle dove and missed him. Finally, driven out of bounds by Cody Creer. They've got a real balanced attack, this Colgan Panther team. And they're showing all aspects of it today, really running on all 8 cylinders.
Now the Panthers, pretty good history. They've won state championships in 74 and 75. As you take a look at that play again, they won those in Class 1A. They won an 84 championship in Class 2-1A. Remember, the star of that team was a guy named Putzer Dayton. How did you remember that? Because he went to the Shrine Bowl and had a huge Shrine Bowl back in probably 85. I think he was a senior in 85.
Wow.
Putzer Dayton from Pittsburgh Colgan. And I want to say he went to Pittsburgh State. You wonder what Putzer Dayton is doing today.
Probably rooting the Panthers from
There
wherever
you go. He may be in the house. Who knows?
Well, they got the first down on that play.
You saw the carry.
And I would imagine they're thinking more points before halftime.
1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. 3:43 remaining. Pitch right. Taylor. Here he goes. 50, 45. And Hickle was the guy that slowed him down and kept him from going the distance.
A lot of arm tackling out there for Claflin, something they haven't been known for in the past. And the arm tackling is not going to work against this Colgan ball team.
You don't think they're exercising some demons across the way?
They certainly might be. a year's worth.
I was going to say it's a lot warmer on the far sideline than it is on the near sideline. Not only is it warmer because they're winning, but it's gloomy and dark because the shadows falling across the Claflin bench.
Yes,
they're a little
is.
colder over here on the near side. 1st and 10 at the 44. Taylor galloping for 8. And they're gashing holes right now in the old Plowboys.
And Jordan Hickle.
Cody Creer, Jordan Hickle there to make the stop. But the Panther Express continues to roll, as does the clock, as we are now under 3 minutes in the first half.
Take a lot of the suspense out of this ball game if they could put one in before the halftime break.
Oh, it really would. And it could be a backbreaker for Claflin. They've got to have a defensive stop here.
It's Rod Taylor, running room, 1st down, and a couple more down to the 31.
Evan Beck on the far side to ride him down. And they're going to move the chains one more time. And as long as they keep running that football, that clock is going to continue to wind down, although it's stopped momentarily for the chains moving. Now it's running again.
Now they're playing Claflin's game right now. They're just grinding.
Sure. You get a lead like that, you can afford to do it.
1st down and 10 inside the 31-yard line of the Wildcats. Here comes Taylor. Nothing doing that time. Homolka come over and make the tackle. Loss of 4.
There are a lot of football scouts who anticipate Homolka playing a linebacker position in college football, and he certainly showed his ability to play defense on that play.
I'll tell you what, he gets up and down the field side to side. 2nd down, 14, back at the 34. And they want to throw, and they have a man wide open. Deshane Bicknell, and Bicknell down near the sticks, gets out of bounds. It'll stop the clock with, actually it did not stop the clock. 1:34 remaining, and the clock continues to roll.
He didn't get out of bounds, did he?
That gain of 13 on the play, and
13-yard gain, 3rd down the yard.
and they want to hurry up. Bicknell's 3rd catch of the ball game. 3rd down and 1, clock running with 1:17 remaining, and the ball at the 22-yard line. Option right.
There's a flag down as Evan Beck comes across to make the stop.
Now a flag on the play, usually in a position of holding. And if that's the case, they'll move them back, and that's exactly what I think we're going to see.
Could be an especially big break for the Wildcats. There are the fans waiting for the official word.
They're on the warm side.
Yes. On the sunny side of the street today.
Illegal substitution, 5-yard penalty, previous spot, 3rd down over.
Well, it's a legal substitution. They'll move it back 5. It'll be 3rd down and 6 back at the 26-yard line with 1:06 remaining. And there you see the gloomy side of the street.
They are in shock, I think. I don't imagine they have seen a deficit like this in how many years?
But if you're looking for the bright side, Claflin fans, you've got the seat backs and the cup holders.
Hey, it could be worse.
3rd down and 6 back at the 26-yard line. Clock rolling under 1 minute to go now. Shotgun formation, wideouts, a couple of them to the left, a single wideout to the right. Now he's in motion.
Probably going to air it out.
He'll go tight. Take it to the left side, looking. Oh, the pass was dropped. It should have been caught by Eric Clausen.
Big hit by Jordan Hickle that time as he stayed right in there in his center field position and put a helmet on him.
Well, with 46 seconds remaining, 45-9 to be precise. It's 4th down and 6 back at the 26. And
this may be the big defensive stop that Claflin needs here in the half. Had they allowed a touchdown here.
You know, the stat that I came up with, I mentioned it earlier about Colgan did not allow a first half touchdown until last week, all season long. They're going to get out of the first half most likely without allowing a touchdown. Back to throw. Has a man wide open. He dropped it. Actually, I think it was tipped by Hickle.
Yeah, sure was.
And Healy couldn't hang on.
Jordan Hickle getting that big hand of his up in the air and just got a piece of it, just enough to
Take over first.
prevent the touchdown, because that would have been a touchdown.
Now Claflin they'll be a part of this ball game going into the locker room, down less than 3 touchdowns. They have got to get something going. The first 5 minutes of the third quarter will be very, very key. I do a lot of basketball games. You talk about coming out of the locker room. The first 5 minutes sets the tone for the rest of the game.
Sure
and
does.
it's going to be huge for Claflin in the third quarter. And I would doubt you'll see him throwing it up here. Well, then again, he's got a man wide open. And if Nick Smith, or excuse me,
Kevin Klug on the play.
if Ben South could have hung that ball out there a little bit more, he would have had a completion and big yardage. But Klug had to come back for the football.
It was almost as if he had already scored on the play. He didn't let his mind catch the ball first, and
Well, he waited for the coverage to come back, or the coverage came back because the pass was not thrown very strongly.
South may throw it up again here.
Now they'll give it to Homolka, and he will bowl for 9 yards with 30 seconds remaining.
Almost a first down. Right at
timeout.
the 35.
Whoa, this way, this way, this way.
Greg Webb's going to go on the field.
Oh, I love having the mic on the.
Timeout. Claflin.
I like having the mic on the official. Hey, wait a second, I just called that the wrong way. No big deal.
9-yard gain, third down 1.
Now a timeout on the play, or a timeout on the field, and Greg Webb, he wants to get points. I mean, he really thinks he can get his team down the field in 25 seconds.
Well, they need him. Look at that scoreboard, 20-0. I don't think anybody imagined it would have anything like this today. At least if you were wearing purple.
What a great crew of people out in the cold bringing you this football game today. First of all, Smoky Hills Public Television doing a great service for sports fans in Kansas, bringing you the 2A, 1A game. They also did the Class 3A game this afternoon as well. And Smoky Hills Public Television, there's the camera guys.
Hey,
They're catching the wind out there. He did,
suffering for the cause out
he finally got into the sunshine. I think he's okay.
there. 483-6990 in the 785 area code. Give them a call, tell them thank you, and you can get a copy of the videotape, a VHS copy. Stay tuned. We'll be showing you more how you can get one of those for this broadcast.
Third down and 1. And Hickle, he'll get the first down, and the clock will stop as they reset the chains. It could be close. I think he's got it.
Yes, he does. First and 10.
It will set the chains. The clock will not start until
And another timeout.
That's our second timeout.
Greg Webb going to visit with his boys on the field. As we said earlier, you have to go back to the fall of '96, the last time Claflin lost a football game.
Now, you and I did the game 2 years ago here when they won state, and Kip Cannell.
That was a record-setting game, wasn't it?
Set an all-time state career touchdown record that afternoon. And I remember you were doing some interviews in the field, and you were waiting right down there at the north end zone.
I'd forgotten about that. But that's right, waiting for that magic touchdown.
You were right there.
He's playing at Washburn now.
And you take a look, tradition never dies. No matter what happens today, the Claflin Wildcats have had an unbelievable run. And this won't take anything away if they can't come back and win this ball game. But I'd say, the stat I think about, the seniors, all the kids, they've never lost a high school game. First and 10, ball at the 36-yard line. It's a passing situation. He's got a man, but it's going to be picked off. He hung it out to dry, and Chris O'Malley with the interception for the Panthers with 14.5 seconds remaining.
P.J. Stiles, the intended receiver out there, and a heads-up play as he was falling to the ground. He grabbed the defender's jersey and pulled him down with him because there was some wide open green space. Here's the replay, and you can see Stiles as he goes up, realizes he's not going to catch the ball, and as he's going to the ground, grabbing O'Malley's jersey and bringing him down with him.
Colgan's not done. They're
Back
going for
action
the downs here, and the pass is incomplete.
Aaron Clausen, the intended receiver out there, and Jordan Hickel, among others, on the defensive stop.
Well, they don't care that there's only 10 seconds, 8 seconds remaining. They're going to try to put some points in the scoreboard. You got to give them credit. I think they feel like if they can hit a long pass right here, they can.
Oh boy, blow this thing wide open.
They can put the fork in the chicken.
Claflin kids look a little tired, but of course it's at the end of the first half here. But
They've never been in this situation before. 2nd and 10. Give it off to Taylor. Taylor will go down at the 41, a gain of 3, and now a timeout.
Now, how did Evan Beck come out of that pile with the football?
I went the wrong way.
Interesting.
Timeout, Pittsburgh.
Ball must have just squirted loose after he was on the ground. Keith Staudinger fell on you or me, we'd probably give up the football too.
Now Colgan calls a timeout, so what they're going to do here with 3 seconds remaining is one play, put it up, look for a penalty, or look for something that'll break the back of the Claflin Wildcats. An INT isn't going to hurt him a bit right now unless they'd bring him all the way back, and that happened in a Fort Hays State game this year. Just a wild end of the half pass was taken back 80 yards for a touchdown to an INT. That will not be the case as Taylor will break into the clear, get across the 50 and go down at the 47. So a gain of 13 yards in the play, and we are at halftime with Taylor's 13-yard run. And how about the fans across the way, because they are on their feet as the St. Mary Colgan Panthers have a 20-0 halftime lead on the team with a 51-game winning streak. They haven't lost in 4 years, the Claflin Wildcats. Pretty exciting first half. Claflin's not out of this ball game yet. They've just got to generate a touchdown early in the second half.
They have their work cut out for them. They're going to have to play some wicked defense. They're going to have to get a turnover or two. And here's that Joe Taylor run, final play of the first half. You see Homolka chasing him there. There's Jordan Hickel coming up to help make the stop on the final play here of the first half of the 2A state title game.
Well, it's pretty one-sided. We'll see what happens in the second half. Your halftime score from the 2-1A state championship game at Lewis Field Stadium on the campus of Fort Hays State University. It is St. Mary's Colgan out of Pittsburgh 20 and the Claflin Wildcats nothing. We'll take a break. Your halftime festivities will continue right after this. Well, as you can see, the shadows lengthening at Lewis Field Stadium as the sun begins to go down, and 24 minutes away from it being the sun going down on a 51-game winning streak. That is, if the Claflin Wildcats can't come out in the second half and make something happen early and get some points in the scoreboard, Stan Unreal.
They have a lot of work to do. With the kind of offense they run, it's going to be difficult. They're going to have some big plays on defense, and they've only got one half to overcome this 20-point deficit. The Colgan Panthers have really had their way with the Claflin Wildcats in the first half. Of course, turnovers were a big factor.
You see it right there on the screen. You take a look at the numbers. Offensively dominated by Colgan in the first half. Passing yards 118-6. They strung together a pretty good rushing game with 80 yards, almost 200 yards total offense. They've held Claflin to 75 yards, but the big number on the scoreboard is the turnovers. 20-0 on the scoreboard, but the TOs, 4 for Claflin, none for St. Mary's Colgan. And
points off the turnovers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's you're exactly right. And it's up to Claflin to see if they can make something happen the first 5-8 minutes, the first half of the third quarter. So important to a team that's behind. And if Colgan can come out and take control of this football game and set the tone, they're on their way to a state championship.
Both teams back on the field, warming up for the second half. We had the halftime festivities, and the fans have got their popcorn and their hot chocolate. And
Lots of hot chocolate, I bet.
Yes, indeed. Some of the Claflin players there throwing the ball on the sideline.
Now you take a look at some individual numbers. First of all, for St. Mary's Colgan, Joe Taylor rushed the ball 11 times for 56 yards in the first half. Micah Ealing, 3 carries for 9 yards. Nick Smith, the quarterback, 6 carries for 15 yards. And Smith passing in the first half, 5 of 10 for 118 yards. Of course, the big play was the 54-yard touchdown pass to Eric Clausen. Shane Bicknell caught 3 balls in the first half for 36 yards. Andy Wechter caught 1 for 28. And Eric Clausen, the big one, the touchdown from 54 yards out. Claflin led in rushing. Jordan Hickel, 16 carries for 43 yards. Colin Homolka, 9 carries for 23. Evan Beck, 2 for 3. And Ben South through the air, only 1 for 4 passing for 6 yards. That one completion to Evan Beck.
You know, we talked with both coaches before the game, and especially Chuck Smith of Colgan, about the big play and trying to get the big play, and how Claflin was going to have to prevent the big play. That 54-yard touchdown pass was
Okay, you can shake hands again,
one
fellas.
that really
Shake
made
hands
the
again.
difference. A 20-point lead as opposed to a 13 or 14-point lead is very different coming out with
Okay,
one half
your
to
choice,
play.
fellas. They want the ball. Which end do you want to defend? Okay, let's swing around that way.
The choice allowing
Colgan will
the
receive from this end. Let's go.
Now Claflin will have to get a defensive stop.
Yes, they will. But you know, the mark of a champion says that they can overcome a lot of obstacles. We're going to see whether the 3-time defending state champs are up to the task today in trying to extend the winning streak from 51 to 52 and break the all-time state record.
Well, and you can take a look at the two teams. Colgan, they're fired up. They're in the huddle. They're jumping around. Claflin slowly walking out to take their positions.
They look determined.
They need to.
Looks like Greg Webb wants to line up with him out there. The head
He spends
coach,
about as much time on the field as any head coach I know.
he certainly does, and I guess that's well within the rules. You just aren't used to seeing that. I can't imagine any of the present-day college or NFL coaches doing anything like that. But Greg likes to get out there in their face and see the whites of their eyes and make sure they're getting everything ready to go for the final 24 minutes of the 2000 football season.
And he is trying to pump some confidence into them right now. Jeremy Fluhoff will kick it off to start the third quarter, 20-0. The St. Mary's Colgan Panthers on top of the Claflin Wildcats, and we are ready. 24 more minutes of football to determine a state champion. And a low squib kick, and it will be taken by Joe Taylor, still on his feet, out to the 30-yard line, and that is where the Panthers will set up shop. First down and 10.
And Evan Beck, who made so many fine tackles in the first half, there to make the first stop on the return here as we get the second half of play underway. Claflin needs a turnover, some big defensive stops. They certainly don't want to let the Colgan Panthers score on this first possession. And in their first 3 of the first half, they did.
Nick Smith brings them up first and 10. Pitch right to Joe Taylor. Not a whole lot doing right there. Stopped for a short loss. Like over there among the tacklers, Gavin Klug.
And Evan Beck also, once again, there to make the stop.
No gain for Joe Taylor. Second down and 10. 198 yards total offense to 75.
Big difference. It shows on the scoreboard.
And nothing doing this time, although Nick Smith will stay on his feet and go forward. I tell you what, Colin Homolka put a hit on him, and Nick Smith was able to spin out of it for a few yards. It's actually no gain on the play.
He just got back to the line of scrimmage, and if it's any indication, the sheer determination we saw in the eyes of the Claflin Wildcats right for the kickoff is showing up on this first possession of the second half.
They'll go from the shotgun, spread it out a little. Third down and 10, rolling right. Nick Smith looking down the field, picked off, intercepted. Gavin Klug will go down, and that is a big turnover right there, because that might give the Claflin Wildcats a little bit of momentum.
That's exactly what they needed. Eric Clausen, the intended receiver out there, he makes the stop, and the Wildcats, for the first time today, have something really to be excited about.
It's the first turnover that the Wildcats have forced this afternoon.
Here's the replay, and you can see Gavin Klug going up and just taken the ball out of the air. 1st and 10 now for the Cats.
Well, the drive will start just shy of the 50 at the 46, but first down, not a whole lot doing there. Evan Beck. And he'll lose 5 yards. Well, they mark that out. They're going to bring it up a step. Yep, he'll lose 4.
Every time Claflin has done something positive today, Colgan has turned right around and shut him down. And now we've got the quarterback coming off the field, Ben South, limping off the field one more time. And Aaron Beck, the sophomore quarterback, is in the lineup.
Well, Aaron Beck was taking some snaps at halftime. He knew he was going to get some time. Homolka up the gut near the 50.
Makes up for the loss on 1st down and then some. And maybe getting Aaron Beck in the lineup is the spark that Claflin will need on offense, because South has been limping around here for several series after getting banged up in the 1st half.
Now 3rd down and 6 right here from just shy of midfield. Big play. Beck will give it off to Hickle. He won't get the 1st down, but it'll bring up a decision here. It picks up about half of what was needed. It'll be 4th down and 3. A 3-yard pickup for Hickle.
T.J. Markey grabbed him around the ankles and held him from making that 1st down.
I don't think there's much of a decision to be made here. They'll go for it on 4th and 3 at the Colgan 47-yard line.
Claflin has to throw out all the stops. They've got a big defensive turnover. They need points on the scoreboard.
This is a big play.
And Aaron Beck's going to call timeout, Tom.
Good call.
Timeout, Claflin. Timeout, Claflin.
If you are not confident,
he's a sophomore.
Burn the timeout right there. This is the biggest play of the ball game, because if Colgan holds right here, they've got the ball near midfield, and they've got a chance to hammer the nail in the coffin.
Yes, they do. Greg Webb, once again, out in the middle of the huddle, probably telling these kids, listen, you've never been in a situation like this. I haven't been in a situation like this for a long time. Together, maybe we can turn this thing around.
Well, you take a look, Colgan is having their way so far today, and they've rolled through the season. You look at their wins: 40-6 over Girard, 46-0 over Baxter Springs, 41-7 over Galena. They beat Frontenac, a 3A finalist. 30 score in that game was 34-0.
That says a lot right there.
Yeah, it really does. Riverton 49-6, Southeast Cherokee 41-8, West Elk 57-0, Oswego 53-0. They weren't tested until last week, and I think that was good for them. They're battle tested for this state championship game. Big 4th down play. Oh, nice stop. Can Hickle carry for the 1st down? He might have.
He had those big thighs churning, and he lost his helmet in the process.
I think he got it. Chris O'Malley tried to knock him down short of the 1st down marker, but Hickle carried O'Malley for the 1st down. And a gain of 4.
That was sheer determination. Hauling all that hay this summer. Put some weight on him, and he was able to get the ball across for the 1st down. Super effort.
8:35 remaining, 3rd quarter, 20-0. St. Mary's Colgan over Claflin. 1st and 10. There's the give to Hickle down to the 40. Gain of 3.
Jordan Hickle is going to make a big difference in this 2nd half. They're keying so much on Homolka, and Hickle certainly has the ability to get to the outside, run this thing up the gut, and move this Wildcat team down the field.
Well, if they can stick one in right here, they'll go for 2. They don't kick the football. They can get back in this ball game, but they got to capitalize on this drive. Homolka right up the gut, 1st down and a yard more.
Now, this is the Claflin football team we're used to seeing.
Just wearing them down. And a gain of 8. Nope, a gain of 6. And they are going. They marked it back a little bit. I thought he had it.
Now they're going to come out and measure it, looks like.
Measure this one. And we'll get a close-up look at this one, as you can tell on your TV set.
I think he's going to be just shy.
I thought he had it, but the mark was back a little bit. It will be inches.
Well, this won't be a tough call, although on second down might be a chance to do something that
put her up a little bit.
Anticipate.
Of course, I would doubt that Greg Webb would stray too far from the playbook. They've been down in this position 2 or 3 times in this ball game and haven't been able to knock it in. They've been down inside the 35-yard line a couple, 3 times. 3rd down and 1. 2 down territory right here. They don't want it to get to a 4th down situation, though.
Not indeed.
Aaron Beck under center. Homolka, 1st down and more inside the 30, and Homolka just bearing down.
Joe Taylor in there to help make the stop, and the Colgan Panthers trying to pull the football out of the arms of Homolka.
Homolka lost his shoe.
I tell you, I think you and I are the only 2 guys that haven't lost a shoe
That's
today.
right. First down and 10 at the 29-yard line. On a drive that started back on their own 46. They're trying to finish it with a touchdown. Wow. The offensive line were just knocked back on their haunches, and
Scott Schiffelbein, among others in there, just
Aaron Beck, as soon as he took the snap, got blasted.
And once again, the Wildcats find themselves in a deficit situation, 2nd and long.
Yeah, loss of 4 on the carry. Second and 14. Option to the right side. Nothing doing here. How about the pursuit of the... And another shoe flies out of there. That shoe went up about 20 feet in the air.
Well, I tell you, we need to call one of these shoe companies to see what the story is.
That's a loss of 4 on that one. It's 3rd down and a bunch back at the 39.
So the sophomore quarterback will put his shoe back on, try to figure out what play to call, and anticipate a 3rd down and long.
3rd and 19. Actually make it 3rd and 20.
And the officials are going to call a timeout to let Beck get dressed down there.
Taking a look down on the sideline. I wonder where Ben South is.
The starting quarterback for Claflin.
Down there standing at about the 30-yard line.
He's watching intently. Looks like he's in good shape at about the 46.
Doesn't look like
he's injured. Just
no, it
wouldn't get
doesn't.
the job done.
3rd down and 20. He wants to throw. Has a man complete down to the 29-yard line. It'll still be 3rd and 10.
Aaron to
or 4th and
Beck.
10. And Evan Beck makes the catch.
White captain. White captain.
And a flag on the play, so hold on.
And I would imagine that's what the flag is for, some type of a hold on.
You're not supposed to hold on.
Holding on the offense. Spot foul, 10 yards. Repeat 3rd down.
That's
Handful of
big.
jersey for somebody.
They will mark that off from the spot of the foul, which is back at the 41. So in essence, this is about a 12-yard penalty. It'll be 3rd down, and they've got to get about half of Ellis County here to get the first.
Well, yeah, and the thing that's even worse about this is that we're losing time on the clock.
Exactly.
Claflin has that enemy as well in this ball game. We're still early in the 3rd quarter, but
it's 3rd down and 34, and they'll give the ball to Homolka in a huge hole, and he is gone. Touchdown, Colin Homolka on 3rd and 33.
from their own 47-yard line, 53-yard touchdown run for Colin Homolka.
Boy, was that needed.
And it went from November in Kansas to summertime in Claflin.
That's right. And they will go for two. Greg Webb hasn't had a kicker since 1997. And they'll go for two right here.
Just try and stop him.
That's better than any kicker right there. Homolka gets it. Did he get in? Or not? No signal as of
The players
yet.
were signaling, and
they stopped him. Colgan stopped him. The two-point conversion no good. Homolka lying at about the 1 yard line.
And that could be a factor.
You take a look at the run. Homolka found the seam, blew out the hole, and ran the distance. And I tell you what, he showed some speed there.
When he gets out in the open, he can turn on the afterburners, and he did that time. And despite not getting the conversion, Claflin finally gets on the scoreboard at 5:43 of the third quarter here in the Class 2A state title game. They still have a long way to go, but that was their opening possession, and they couldn't have asked for a whole lot more, despite using up a lot of time on the clock.
Couldn't have asked a whole lot more on 3rd down and 33.
Yeah.
Who says you're down 3rd and 33, you have to throw the football?
Not with a kid like Homolka.
Now you play defense right here, you get the ball back. Anything is possible.
And Greg Webb is reminding his boys they've still got a lot of work left to do before this one's over. Greg Webb has not been in this situation for a long, long time, trailing like this.
But I'll tell you something, he'll be very proud of his guys. All the guys they lost from a year ago, only 3 starters returning.
Lost 8 players on offense and 8 on defense.
Yep. And they're back at the state championship game. Squib Kip will be taken, and oh my gosh, a hit at the 33.
Nice back there.
Still pounding.
Jesse Prosser.
Jesse Prosser laid the lumber on him.
Certainly did. You know, the Wildcats picked up a fumble recovery in the St. Francis game earlier in the playoffs on a kickoff return late in the ball game. I believe it was Jordan Hickel who put a helmet on the football. That's what they were looking to do right there. They're going to need to get the ball back as quickly as possible, get more points on the scoreboard.
Well, the Panthers, they've given Claflin some life. Now it's time to take it away from him again as Joe Taylor scampers for about 5.
Evan Beck in to make the stop.
Joe Taylor, 13 carries, 61 yards.
I'm impressed with this Colgan team. They look sharp. They're clicking on all cylinders. They really played well today.
Very balanced team offensively. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball.
They're fun to watch.
They are fun to watch. 2nd down and 5, ball at the 40. Once again, Taylor gets near the 1st down, needs to get just across the 45. They'll mark it at the 44, so he'll be shy by about a yard, and a gain of 4 on the carry.
Big play for the Wildcats here, although I would imagine, considering the situation, this might be 4-down territory.
Clock rolling, 4:35 in the 3rd quarter.
This is where the
20-6.
Claflin defense has to step up here at this point in the ball game. They've got to get a stop.
And he got it. Keeps it himself. Nick Smith gets the 1st down and 5 more. That is a big 6-yard gain. Let's give him 5 because he's shy of the 50.
And that clock, once they move the chains, will continue to wind down closer to 4 minutes in the 3rd quarter. And Greg Webb has one eye on the field and one eye on that clock.
And so does Chuck Smith. He
does.
You just wait as long as you can before running that play. That's right, Taylor. Not a whole lot there.
And a host of Wildcats, Jordan Hickel and Evan Beck and Homolka.
Yeah, they all got there and they met.
Had a little conference.
Picked a meeting place, and it was Joe Taylor. 2nd and 9 for St. Mary's Colgan.
I would imagine as the sun goes down, the temperatures will continue to fall and the wind continues to blow here. Hasn't stopped the Colgan passing game.
There's the pitch to Taylor. Taylor gets around the corner, picks up 5 out of a play that didn't look like it was going very far.
Boy, I tell you, that was just sheer hustle. He's quick to get around the end there and had a couple of players, including Jordan Hickel, trying to get him, but
and he stayed in bounds, which will keep the clock running to 3:10, 3:09. The clock is an ally of the Panthers. Third down and 5 from the Claflin 45-yard line. forward progress should give him the first down. He got across the 40, and yes, it did.
Sure looks like Walker got the first down. They're moving the chains.
6-yard pass completion. That's a big one right there. Andy Wachter catches his second ball of the day. And Nick Smith.
Just a nice rollout and dump it off.
Nick Smith now 6 of 12 through the air. Ball at the 40 now, 1st and 10, and now he can run some more time. 2.5 minutes remaining, third quarter. Joe Taylor, will cut it up across the 40 down to the 37.
Evan Beck once again making the stop. He's on almost every play.
Boy, the sense of desperation you have on the near sideline with Claflin. You're down by 2 touchdowns. That clock rolls, and your offense isn't something that's going to score in a hurry unless you break one free with your fullback like they did last time. Under 2 minutes now remaining, third quarter, 2nd down and 8.
And there's going to be a timeout. Joe Smith going to.
Timeout, Colgan. Timeout, Colgan.
Or Nick Smith going to.
1:52 remaining, third quarter. Colgan trying to run some time. They'd like to stick a touchdown in the end zone. They lead by 14, 20-6. Let's go back and recap some scoring. All of Colgan's touchdowns in the first half. Nick Taylor on a 2-yard run with 6:35 remaining in the first quarter. Taylor with a 1-yard run with 2:43 remaining in the quarter made it 14-0. And then right before the half, Nick Smith to Eric Clausen, a 54-yard touchdown pass. The 2-point conversion fails. And actually that was with 8 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and 20-0. So 3 first quarter touchdowns. Now they're trying to hang on. Claflin scored with 5:43 remaining in the third quarter. 53-yard touchdown run by Colin Homolka. They go for 2 and it fails. And that is basically a recap of your ball game. 20-6 the score with 1:52 remaining. And there you see the Claflin fans. They're looking for something to hang their hat on right now.
For those seniors on either side, these are the final minutes of their high school career. 1:52 left, third quarter.
Colgan's had something on their mind for 365 days since they lost here a year ago to Claflin. They're trying to hang on. They'll give it to Joe Taylor.
And Claflin can't seem to find a way to stop that running attack or stop Colgan altogether.
Well, Joe Taylor puts him in a 3rd and short situation, and the clock continues to roll with 1.5 minutes remaining, and every 3rd down play is big, but it tilts in the favor of the offensive team right now when you're looking at 3rd down and 1. It seems like that football field runs downhill. First down and a little bit more. Move the chains. Nick Smith gains 3.
Smith and Taylor are just Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside. They're just getting the job done, no matter whose number is called.
Yeah, they've been doing it all season long. Smith thrown for 1,790 yards. He's rushed for 657 coming into the game. He has accounted for 39 touchdowns, 22 throwing, and 17 on the ground. Wow. That's a high-powered offense.
Quite an athlete.
1st and 10, ball sitting at the 27 now.
Get up! Get up!
And Joe Taylor. Fourth quarter getting underway here from Lewis Field Stadium at Fort Hays State University. The St. Mary's Colgan Panthers with a 20-6 lead over the Claflin Wildcats, and they have a 1st down and 10 at the Claflin 22-yard line as we get underway in the final 12 minutes of the 2000 high school football season.
Wildcats looking for a big defensive play.
That could have been a start right there, but a big play for Joe Taylor as he gets into the corner of the end zone. Touchdown. Hickle had a shot of him.
He had him in the backfield and couldn't hang on.
But Taylor gets it done. Touchdown, Colgan.
That could be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Can you hear the nail being pounded into the coffin?
First play of the fourth quarter. And Katie is barring the door, I'm afraid. It's far from over, but with the kind of offense Claflin has,
They'll go for 2 here. And it's incomplete.
So they don't get the conversion, but Joe Taylor continues to get away with about anything he wants to today, running the ball.
You could not have designed that any better for Colgan. They ran 6 minutes off the clock almost, and they cap it with a touchdown. They're up by 20, and Claflin not a team known for being able to make a comeback.
Here's the replay. Now you see Jordan Hickle coming into your screen there. He has him around the waist and just slips off. He didn't get a good hold. Homolka couldn't catch him. Evan Beck trying to chase him down, and he just dove into the end zone. Tremendous play by a tremendous young athlete.
That is a big play. 11:52 now remaining in the ball game. 26-6, and we'll be honest with you, we thought this would be a close ball game. We thought this would be a very, very competitive game. And you have got to
underestimated.
You got to give St. Mary's Colgan a lot of credit. A lot of credit.
They look a lot more confident than I remember seeing them last year. Of course, Claflin is not the team they were a year ago. They're good, but
they just did a breaking drive, 65 yards, cap it with a touchdown, and run a lot of clock off. Homolka has it. He's an up man, takes it to the 34.
Well, Claflin can't afford to grind it out. They have got to move the ball quickly down the field. I don't think they can afford to pass. Aaron Beck going to go back in at quarterback. Ben South remains on the sideline.
And as you see, this broadcast from Smoky Hills Public Television. 2-1A state championship game. 1st and 10 from the 34. They give to Hickle, but flags and whistles will stop the action.
Probably a procedure infraction of some type.
That's all Claflin needs. 5 yards.
Dead ball. False start for the snap.
That'll make it 1st and 15.
The mistakes have really haunted Claflin today.
Boy, that first muffed punt in the first quarter set the tone.
And the second possession, another fumble.
Exactly.
And they continually had penalties or plays where they've been caught behind the line to have to crawl out of more holes here and there. And once again on this drive.
1st and 15. And Hickle across the outside, keeps his feet. Nice run for about 3. Should have been knocked down back at the line of scrimmage. He's able to get forward and gain about 3 yards.
Well, Hickle certainly is trying his best, but he can't do it all.
It'll be 2nd down and 11 yards, 11 and a half or so. And the clock continues to roll here in the 4th quarter. 11:15 remaining. Absolutely nowhere to go. The sack back inside the 25 to the 23.
Gavin Klug had been split out wide to the left that time for Claflin, and it looked like Beck was either going to try a bootleg or try to bootleg out to the left side, look for a receiver down the field.
Well, he lost 10 yards. Now it's 3rd down and 20, actually losing 9 on the play.
And you got to think that Chuck Smith is praying that clock will go 90 miles an hour. Pittsburgh Colgan coach.
Throw it up for grabs. It is caught at the 40 across midfield, and a big hookup right there.
Jordan Hickle on the reception.
Evan Beck to Hickle. That's needed right there. A gain from the 24-yard line out to the 48 of Colgan. It's a gain of 28 yards in the pass completion, and Beck completes his first pass of the day.
Joe Taylor probably saved the touchdown with a nice defensive stop. Hickle lined up once again wide to the left.
1st and 10 from the 48. Right to Homolka. Nothing doing. We'll get forward progress to near the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss of half a yard.
And Homolka is crawling on the field. He looks like he's hurt. Oh, man. He can't get up.
And what a horrible way
to end an incredible senior season.
You're exactly right. To end the day.
He may just be exhausted.
Might have a cramp. I don't know.
Sure could be. He's such a talented ball player, and as we've said earlier, is getting letters and phone calls from a variety of Division I schools.
Well, and you look at it. Let's take a look at this again. Maybe we can see how he got hurt.
Looked like after he went down, there was. Yep.
On his ankle. His ankle got turned a little bit. And 3 guys fell on him, and they're going to bring the ambulance out onto the field. They're going to put him on a stretcher.
Yeah, he may have broken an ankle.
He may have broken his ankle.
Certainly premature for us to even speculate, but he is in a lot of pain.
Of course, by the time anybody sees this, we'll know.
This is true.
By the time anybody sees this, he could have the cast off.
Here comes the fine Ellis County Emergency Medical Services.
You hope you never have to use them, but you're sure glad they're there. He will be helped off the field.
And for a young man who's had an absolutely tremendous 4-year career here at Claflin High School, this is an unfortunate way for it to end. Certainly a captain, leader of this team.
Well, it has been an unbelievable run.
His mother teaches and coaches in grade men. His family is at every sporting event in Martin County sometimes.
Now whistles will stop the action as Evan Beck was blasting up the middle.
Marker on the play.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Homolka being tended to on the sidelines. Got some EMS personnel down there.
When it rains, it pours. Another 5-yard penalty.
Yikes. There's the EMS individual helping out the Claflin trainers.
But they'll put a blow-up cast or something on that just to get it stabilized.
Sure could.
2nd down and 16. Back at the 46-yard line. Back on the other side of midfield. Aaron Beck will not get the play off.
John Segley, a little premature that time.
Defense. Dead ball. Encroachment. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Now that'll bring it back 5 yards. Back to 2nd and 11.
2nd down, 11.
Well, the weather ended up being just beautiful for state championship weekend. We thought we might see some snow. Not the case. Beautiful day for football and
You want a little cold weather.
You bet. It is football. 2nd down and 11 at the 48. And Evan Beck tries to find a seam, gets a yard or two, and that is it.
These Colgan kids are really tackling.
They can feel it. I mean, they just want to get that clock done. They want to celebrate. 8:45 remaining now.
Homolka on the sideline. We mentioned he was still being tended to. There's a shot of folks working on him. I don't imagine he wants to leave the field. Any way he can leave. There's
get that thing wrapped up.
Wrap it up.
Like they're doing.
It may not be as bad as we had imagined.
3rd down and 10 from the 48-yard line. And Claflin will call a timeout. With 8:20 remaining in the ball game, and St. Mary's Colgan with 8 minutes away from a state championship. He'll join the 7 other teams that win state championships across the state of Kansas.
and they're going to tape Homolka's ankle up. I can't imagine he's going to play anymore today, but stranger things have happened. He's a tough kid, and just from the standpoint of, for morale's sake, the Wildcats would like to see him get back in the ballgame.
Now Colgan, Pittsburgh High, Frontenac, St. Paul. I forgot about Fort Scott.
That's
all
right.
those teams from the southeast corner of the state that were playing for state championships today. And St. Mary's Colgan, they're going to be one of the ones that get it done. We're not too sure how the Pittsburgh game came out. They were tied at halftime. Frontenac lost here earlier, and St. Paul was beating Tribune, but it's going to be a good weekend for the Pittsburgh area. Nevin Beck gets the carry.
Well, I don't know what they're doing down in southeast Kansas with all these football teams, but must be something in the oregano or something.
And all the good players go to Pittsburgh State.
Yes, they do.
Pretty good Division II team down there.
Yes, indeed. There's the EMS vehicle now leaving the sideline with out Cullen Homolka.
It is 4th and 7, and this is the last gas for Claflin. And they will not get the first down. And the fans across the way, I think they realize that. They realize that that could be the end of the dynasty. Now, not the end of the dynasty, but the end of the streak. There's no way one loss can signal the end of a dynasty.
Well, they're on their feet over there as the Shadows make their way into the stands on the far side of the field, and they have every right to be on their feet with 7:40 to play here in this State 2A championship game.
Nick Smith will give it to Joe Taylor. Taylor will get a couple. They would be content to do exactly what they did on their last drive. Just run 7 minutes and 28 seconds off the clock, take a knee at the 5-yard line, and get their state championship.
Well, considering the drive they had in the third quarter, if they do a similar type drive, there won't be any time left.
That's exactly right. 2nd down and 9.
There's the Claflin cheerleaders.
Looking a little down.
Well, I tell you, they haven't seen anything quite like this.
They know that you can tell the cheerleaders know their football, though, because most cheerleaders, whether you're winning or you're losing, although there's a touchdown, Nick Smith will go the distance, 57 yards. Is there a flag on the play? The flag was late. I bet it's going to be for a celebration.
Yeah, I would imagine
But
so.
you'll count the touchdown.
We have a 15-yard
That'll make it.
penalty.
That'll make it 32-6 with the extra point upcoming, and Nick Smith just putting the cherry on top of the sundae.
Well, I'll tell you, Claflin's back on their heels now. They realize the impending situation and wanting to get it over with, I think.
They have not been blown out like this in a while.
Nick Smith has just had a fabulous football game.
Well, he's rushed for 79 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's thrown for another touchdown. And now this extra point will be a little interesting here. This will be a 35-yard field goal. Joe Taylor will kick it. How about that?
That was nice. Everything they've done today has come out just the way they wanted. Too bad he only got 1 point for that.
It has been a good day for St. Mary's Colgan from Pittsburgh. They had a long drive to make to Hayes, and it will seem a lot shorter going back as they will take home the hardware as they cap it. As you take a look at the run, take a look, he slipped the tackle, and at about the 40-yard line, he realized that he was gone, and he just, matter of fact, he was, I think that's why they threw the flag, he was doing the salute at the 15-yard line.
Well, and then they pulled some stunt in the end zone when it was all over, too. Several of them laid down in the end zone and did a little routine down there. Aaron Beck had a shot to get him, and the Colgan player didn't see who it was, but to put a nice block on him, and that was all it was going to be. And
I was going to say that you can tell the Claflin cheerleaders are football fans because cheerleaders seem to have a smile on their face whether
No
you're
matter
winning
what.
or you're losing. And those cheerleaders have never lost.
That's
and
right.
they don't know how to feel.
That's exactly right.
They're not down there doing, we got spirit, yes we do, we got spirit, how about you?
Yeah, they haven't seen anything like this since October of 1996, since the last century.
That's exactly right. You put it in that kind of a context.
Way back in the 1900s, the last time Claflin got beat.
Coming up on the return is Jesse Prosser. Boy, they're fired up across the way.
Boy, they are. Telling you, many of them remember the feeling they had a year ago, and they're going to enjoy this one, as well they should. Chuck Smith probably going to do some heavy-duty substituting here, get as many players into the ball game here in these final 6 minutes as possible.
Aaron Beck will bring him up. Aaron Beck, the sophomore quarterback, is the future of this team. So get him some experience in the state championship game, because you know darn well Claflin will be back next year. They're back every year.
You know, if you're not out for football at Claflin, you're probably on the cheerleading squad.
Exactly. You know, the Central Prairie League, they don't like to see Claflin coming, and now they're coming after a loss in 2001. Gain of 1 on the play.
And it wasn't that many years ago that Claflin was just an 8-man football team.
Second down and 9. Beck will roll to the right and get across the 35 out to the 36. Gain 3 on the play. And the clock rolls with 6:05 remaining. The shadows lengthening.
And we've got somebody down over there on the far side. Another Claflin player. And I didn't catch the number, Tom.
They are huddled around him, and there you see Claflin fans once again.
Might be Aaron Beck, I'm sorry. We've got Ben South, who returns to the huddle.
And you wonder why he was out of the ball game. I guess you want to get Beck some experience. Let's take a look at this hit and see what happened.
Yeah, he got nailed pretty good when he went down. Twisted, turned, and that those young bodies can only take so much. And
looks like he'll be all right, though. He's going to brush out the cobwebs, and
if you can remember what day it is.
It is Saturday.
Like that. Yeah.
Don't even ask me what the date is.
Yeah,
in more ways than one.
I know the feeling. Well, I would imagine Greg Webb changed horses there. They weren't getting the job done on offense, and South and Beck have both played throughout the season, and wanted to see if maybe it would spark the offense by bringing him back in. But South back in there now.
3rd down and 6 at the 36-yard line. South wants to throw. He throws it up for grabs. It is off the face mask of
David Blancho.
I think Taylor was in.
Tipped it.
Taylor had a chance to catch it, but it bounced off of his face mask, and it'll be 4th down. And Claflin, I would imagine, would go for it.
Well, that stops the clock at least. And for the first time today, the wind is down just a little bit.
They're going to set up to punt. Keith Stottinger will get back there. The world's largest punter. Not a bad punt. Will hit the turf, and a very favorable bounce inside the 25 down to the 22.
Where Jordan Hickel downs it, and with 5:49 left, Colgan's going to run the clock out.
I have the feeling my stat sheet's going to start getting ugly now.
Sure could.
We'll see a lot of names here. We will see a lot of names, I'm sure. Get him some state championship game experience. Matter of fact, we have a new quarterback. It is Nick Delasega.
All these kids go to practice every night, and they certainly deserve to get in the lineup when you have a score of this difference in score. Delasega's going to run it up the gut on the first play.
Nick Delasega, sophomore. He'll gain about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 7. And the clock rolls with 5.5 minutes remaining. From Lewis Field Stadium, the campus of Fort Hays State University. It's been a great day of football.
Wonderful accommodations for all of us here today.
Nothing doing there. A loss of a yard on the play. Carry by 21. Stu Towner.
Jamie Tudor again on the tackle for Claflin.
And a loss in the play brings up 3rd down and 8.
3rd down and 8 after a 1-yard loss.
There you see the Claflin side.
Under 5 minutes to play.
3rd down and 8 on the 24. And they'll give the ball.
James Borman.
James Bowman, yep. He'll gain a couple. They really don't care right now. They just want to get the time off that clock.
Claflin's going to get the ball back, it looks like.
They will, with 4:20 remaining. This Claflin team has come a long way. You wonder, I don't think Greg Webb expected, with only 3 returners, starters returning, they'd have the perfect run again to the state championship game. Of course, you expected a Claflin, but I think he had a little bit of a pleasant surprise this year. Punt taken by Hickle at the 39. Here he comes. Tries to get around the corner and nothing doing. Look who closes. I tell you, Eric Schiffelbein closed quickly.
Eric Schiffelbein on the tackle along with Lance Fairchild. Ladies and gentlemen, there are still some state championship
Colin Homoka's got his
for sale underneath the
ankle taped and his shoe back on down there on the sideline, but he's through for today, but he's not about to leave the field. We all imagined his injury was worse than it was, and it in fact may be, but he's not about to give in to it. He's a tough cookie.
1st and 10 from the 44. And a new quarterback for Claflin in there, and the give is to Evan Beck, and he will bowl for 9 yards. The new quarterback for the Wildcats is Mark Miller. He's a freshman. And a 9-yard gain for Evan Beck.
And maybe Greg Webb's already looking to next season. Although you do want to get these kids in a ball game. Give them a little opportunity to play in a state title game.
Clock rolls, 3:20 remaining. 2nd down and a very short one. And they'll give it to Hickle. Hickle 1st down across the 45 down to the 42. Nice carry, gain of 4 for Jordan Hickle.
He's been a workhorse today, and
21 carries for 60 yards for Jordan Hickle today.
he's gained every inch of it, I'll tell you. He's been banged up. The Colgan defense has just done a fabulous job stopping this talented running attack of the Claflin Wildcats.
1st and 10, ball at the 42-yard line. And a passing situation. The pass is complete to Evan Beck. He'll keep on his feet down to the 30, down to the 29. And a gain of 13 yards.
A.J. Cedeno making the stop on the far side.
And Mark Miller completes a pass to Evan Beck for 13 yards, move the chains, 1st down at the 29-yard line with 2:42 remaining in the ball game. Mark Miller will bring him up, the freshman.
They're going to pass again. Shows what I know.
That's right up the gut. It's the new fullback. That is Dan Debus. And Debus will gain 6.
Timeout.
Greg Webb.
Claflin.
going to go back on the field, making sure his boys know exactly what he expects of them in the final couple of minutes. While Chuck Smith does likewise on the far side.
They will fight this one all the way to the end. Don't forget, stick around after the game. We'll show the trophy presentation.
And also tell you how to get a VHS copy of today's title game for the state 2A championship.
You get the feeling that we'll sell a lot more of these tapes down in southeast Kansas than we are going to in northern Barton County.
You might be right.
We talked about it in the first half. You were talking, Chuck Smith came up to you and said, like he said,
right.
Supreme confidence, wanted to know how many of them tapes he could order.
He wanted a brochure.
He wanted the brochure.
Where do I call? If you're wondering, that number to call, 483-6990 in the 785 area code. If you were not able to attend the game, that's Smoky Hills Public TV. They'll help you out.
2nd down and 4. Fumble on the play. Ball is loose, and Miller will dive on it and lose about 4 yards and bring up 3rd and 9.
And that play really typifies the kind of day Claflin's had all day long. They've just never been able to get over the hump. A lot of mistakes, a lot of turnovers.
2 minutes remaining. It's 3rd and 10. He will throw the ball. It is complete. To the 20, down to the 15. Still on his feet is Evans back. Down to the 10. And a 1st down will move the chains with 1:49 remaining. Claflin wants to put some points in the scoreboard.
Scott Sion there to make the stop, prevent the touchdown. And Miller, for a youngster, hasn't seen a lot of action this year, although I'm sure he gets plenty of action in practice. Throwing the ball, doing a nice job, marching him down the field here.
1st and 10 at the 11. And they'll give the ball to Hickle, and he will go into the end zone for a touchdown. Virtually untouched. Jordan Hickle with an 11-yard touchdown run for the Claflin Wildcats. That'll make it 33-12, and they'll go for 2. A little bit too little, too late, though, with a minute and a half remaining in this ball game.
Really got to give these Colgan kids credit after what they went through last year and the fantastic season they've had this year.
And Hickle will not get anywhere near the end zone in the 2-point conversion.
The Panthers are just playing outstanding defense.
They really are. I mean, you take a look at the numbers.
Here's the replay on the touchdown. Jordan Hickle running off tackle there and just found an opening and got into the end zone, although Jesse Hudson tried to corner him at the goal line.
Claflin on the season. They're now 0 for 2 on 2-point conversions today, but coming in 68% on 2-point conversions. They didn't kick one all season. Actually, Greg Whipp said he attempted to kick a couple of them just late in blowouts just to see if they could do it. And Keith Staudinger, first time he hit it off the bottom of the goalpost. The second time, defender rolled up on him, and he goes, "I don't want my guy getting hurt. We'll never do it again." And they haven't.
Yeah. Well, with the kind of workhorses they've got in that backfield, you can see they didn't need to do it. Well, the lights are on here at Lewis Field Stadium. We're down to the final minute and a half of the 2000 football season.
Nothing like high school football. It's very pure at this level, especially at the small schools.
Oh, it's just been an outstanding day. And if you weren't able to attend, I tell you, you missed a great competition.
Yeah, they won't go for the onside kick. They will kick it back, and
De La Sega is going to down it just about the 23-yard line.
And Claflin out of timeout, so I believe Colgan could probably take a knee.
I would imagine we've seen our last regular play from scrimmage today.
You'd like to think. It's all over but the shouting, and there will be some shouting done on the far sideline in 1 minute and 28 seconds.
Well, head coach Chuck Smith has really put together an incredible group of young athletes. I mean, when you consider this team shut out in a big way the runner-up in the 3A title game, and now they're going to take home the trophy for the 2A state title.
We're going to bring in a whole new cast of characters.
And the folks on the sideline in the stands are going to give them a standing ovation, and they certainly deserve it. There goes
the water bath. No, boy, 2 coaches over there got it. They unloaded both water coolers over there across the way, and now there's lots of ice in the field.
Now they're having a good time, and they certainly deserve it. It's a long way from those hot summer practices back in August. They're probably going to only have to snap it one more time.
Mark Smith, a freshman quarterback, in there to take the knee that time. And 40 seconds remaining, 33-12. They'll start celebrating on the far sideline. You know, Pittsburgh had 3 teams playing for championships today. They're going to get at least one of them home with a title. The St. Mary's Colgan Panthers, 25 seconds away from the state championship. To the knee, that will be the final play of this ball game, and this one was a lot easier than we thought it would be. And the 51-game winning streak for the Claflin Wildcats is over. Their seniors had never lost a game, but they lose their final one. The final score, St. Mary's Colgan from Pittsburgh 33, Claflin 12, and the teams are celebrating across the way, and that's a surprising score. We really expected a tight ball game, and we did not get one. 20-0 at the half. It was 20-6 after a third quarter touchdown by Claflin, but it was a couple of touchdowns by Taylor, Joe Taylor.
And didn't he play an outstanding game today?
Yeah, he really did. You take a look at Joe Taylor.
Offensively and defensively.
We called his name all day long on both sides of the ball.
He really had a super game, and now the players lining up and doing the wonderful show of sportsmanship here, congratulating each other for a job well done on the field of battle today here at Lewisfield Stadium.
And we will take a break. It is in the books. The 2A, 1A state champions are the St. Mary's Colgan Panthers. Congratulations. The final score 33-12. We'll take a break and have the trophy presentation right after this. Well, as you come back, you see the Claflin Wildcats receiving their state runner-up trophy. They got a nice hand from the crowd. And now we'll send it, take a look down on the field as the St. Mary's Colgan Panthers receive their hardware, state champions in 2000.
2000 won a 2-1A state championship trophy to the Panthers of Pittsburgh, St. Mary's Colgan High. Teams being presented by each school cheerleader.
Stan Enru, it's a tremendous honor to win a championship, and I tell you what, it was 100 degrees in those 2-a-days back in August, and they've worked and worked and worked and worked, and now it's a chance to enjoy the spoils of the success as the parents and family and all the supporters who made the trip from Pittsburgh are on the field and congratulating their team, their sons and grandsons and whatever. They're down there celebrating a state championship. Heck of a deal.
Oh, it's fun to watch, and I tell you, all these kids deserve a great amount of credit. They spend so much time in practice and trying to balance that along with trying to be good students as well, and all the other things that they're responsible for, and to get this far and do such an outstanding job. The coaches and all of the sponsors, and the cheerleaders and others deserve a tremendous amount of credit. The folks at St. Mary's Colgan really have done an outstanding job, and we certainly can't forget all the wonderful things that we've seen Claflin do in winning the state title 3 straight years and being back for a 4th year. Both those communities have an awful lot to be proud of.
And now in the world of high school sports, especially in the small high schools, you take a week off. They used to call it buffer week. I don't know if they do that anymore, but they take buffer week off where there's no practice, and you come back and start basketball. Matter of fact, since they're in the state championship games, I think these guys lost their buffer week. They go right into basketball practice.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
But hey, one shining moment for both teams. They get to the state championship game. One team has to win, one team has to lose. But they're all winners in life. And you take a look at, if you want a copy of this game, write to Smoky Hills Public TV, Post Office Box 9 in Bunker Hill, Kansas. The zip code is 67626. You know the phone number by heart. I'll let you read it.
785, the area code 483-6990. Give them a call, and you can purchase the tape. And if you don't want the tape, you might want to call and just tell them thank you for making this broadcast possible. State High School Championship Football, brought to you by Smoky Hills Public Television. Public television, if they don't do it, nobody else will. So
that's exactly right. And it's a situation where there are only 2 games that were televised today. The 6A game wasn't televised, 5A, 4A, but the 3 and 2A games were, and we're proud to be here and proud to be a part of Smoky Hills Public Television. How about the crews who have done it all today? Of course, they did the game here, but it's been a doubleheader. They've been out there for 6 hours out in the cold. The camera people and all the production staff, very much a job well done. And Stan Enru, it's a pleasure to working with you again.
Always a pleasure working with you too, Tom. And we certainly have seen some fantastic football today on both sides of the field.
State champions, Class 2-1A in the year 2000, the St. Mary's Colgan Panthers from Pittsburgh. Congratulations, and also congratulations to Claflin. 51 in a row is an unbelievable streak. And we'll see if they can start a new one in 2001. From Lewis Field Stadium in Hays, Kansas, good afternoon, everybody.